the inside scoop with Alex and Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I am Jeff Doss. What's up, guys? Welcome. Episode 290 of Inside Scoop. We are having a great time bringing episodes to you each and every week. And I tell you what, man, we had an awesome one last week. My mom had a great time, so thank you for having her on.
290.
And
You know what?
a lot of fun.
Having your mom on was a lot of fun. And spoiler alert, I don't know if she's about to jump in the chat, but the goal was to have Patrice in the chat, right? That's my mom, right? And I so badly wanted to do it so that you guys could understand that, like, oh, now Alex makes sense, right? I so badly wanted that to happen to where you could just be like, okay, I get it. It's not his fault. It's not 100% his fault. I understand it now. Okay, got it. Now we're here.
Yeah.
Right. But my mom was in the chat, and even she said she kind of second guessed herself. She's like, man, I wouldn't have as much to add. Like, Jeff's mom had way more to add. She just knew more. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I was telling my mom, I was like, you're entertaining and you don't even know it, you know? So it would be something. But I mean, having your mom on was so much fun. I just loved hearing a little bit more. One of the things I was really excited, I knew we would get into, was the novelties.
Yeah.
How it started, where it went. I mean, you obviously knew it all. I didn't really know it
a lot
all.
of people probably didn't know where it started or why, or
Yeah. But really understanding like the details is like, all right, how big did it get? Who was the target audience? What did you really sell? Things like that. It was super cool.
Oh yeah. And the thing is like, where did she get a lot of the stuff? You know, what was really funny, like, especially in the 90s, a lot of these like Asian gift stores kind of popped up, right? And there was one in the same mini mall as where we did martial arts. So we would go there and get things or find things, and she would get stuff from that same person's supplier. Certain, you know, like there would be ones where we would sell, like, you know, the acrylic monks and doing kung fu and things like that, right?
Little necklaces with the Asian lettering on them.
Right.
And
you
can look at it, you're like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what language this is.
I still get Oriental Trading like books in my PO box every so often from that.
There was this it wasn't just martial arts supply. It was like they sold like martial arts stuff.
Yeah.
But then it was also like that. Like, it's like, this is just like a knickknack store, right?
Yeah. Right.
It was in St. Paul, Minnesota, which, okay, to get everybody kind of the idea of like, what does that mean? So pretty much the entire population of the state is in Minneapolis and St. Paul, but it's pretty much just Minneapolis, right? St. Paul is the capital. They call it the Twin Cities because they're right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as east of Minneapolis. East of Minneapolis is St. Paul, right? It's like you leave one, you enter the other, right? So like the University of Minnesota is in both cities, right?
Wow. Okay.
So anyway, there's this store, and you go into, and it made me giggle every time because you knew that, like, man, I can't get this thing from Bold Look. They might have it, and you'd have to go there, and you do it because you knew that they could, right?
Yeah.
And you go there, and it would be something out of a bad martial arts movie. You go, and there'd be, promise this is the truth, there's this 3-legged dog, right, hobbling around the store, straight up. It's a 3-legged dog hobbling around the store, and somehow the place smells like cats.
Oh my
With a
God.
three-legged dog hopping around, and you're like, what did I just walk into? Like, did I just walk into a deleted scene from Big Trouble in Little Tokyo or something like crazy like that? Right? It's literally what you think. And then you get there,
Yeah.
and it's like a big, overweight white guy with an eye patch. And you're like, yes. Where are the cameras? Where are they? They're around here somewhere, because this doesn't make a lick of sense. And then right up in front, like on the counter, all the incense are burning. Right, dude, you're not going to become Asian by default if you just keep bringing these things in. Give it up. Your last name's probably McDonald. All right. It was really weird. But yeah, it was. So but your mom would get stuff from places like that.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, so definitely a fun episode last week. Again, I was in over the weekend, was in Williamsburg for our oldest college graduation. She graduated from William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. So a good ceremony there, great time, and we came back yesterday, and then just focused on getting back to work. Did some lessons, and then I got to do. I'll be on the Fist Kicks and Flicks this week. So
what's the movie?
So we're on episode 9 and 10 of season 2 of Warrior. So this series is so awesome, and it's one of my favorites. So every time they do it, I try to at least get on the finale episode.
Wait, what is this show?
It's called Warrior. So Warrior is.
How have I not heard of this?
Dude, go to Netflix. It's 3 seasons. You'll be hooked. It's freaking awesome. So what it is they took the original story and script and screenplay that Bruce Lee made for Kung Fu, right? And his daughter is like executive producer or helping with the writing of it, right? So
Shannon Lee, right?
Yeah. So they have so many great actors in there. The setup is awesome, and it takes place in like the 1870s in San Francisco. And I mean, it's intense, and it gets as real as of how it was to live in Chinatown at that time. All the issues that they were going through of the Chinese and the Irish and the government, and I mean and then the fighting is just insane. And then the fighting between
San Francisco had a large Irish population.
They had that too.
Well, I suppose at that time, everywhere in the U.S., the Irish were like, hey, "You don't want to go there? I'll go there."
Yeah,
we'll go anywhere.
But then there was a lot of the Chinese because they had their own Chinatown, because from the railroad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and they were a port town. So I mean, I guess that makes some sense.
So it talks about like the Tongs and the rival gangs in China and China.
Right.
Yeah, it's intense, man. So I would suggest it. And the thing is, like, you could watch it, like you can get into it. It's
like knowing me, you're like, Alex, you're gonna watch minimum of 4 episodes in one sitting.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yep. All right. Cool.
Yep.
I'm in.
All right, guys. So Sam is in the chat. Leandro. Who else is in the chat? Share, guys, and or tag someone in the comments, and so that way they're joining in. We're going to be talking. Hey, Mom, we're going to be talking about Pan Am's today.
We got tanks.
Neither of us were there. So we rely a lot on you guys. And such the things we've heard and seen. Sound like another good event and a big tournament for those guys. What's up, Will? And so again, we were trying to have Alex on, but Alex lost his voice. So his voice is gone. So he was intense of helping run the event, probably some coaching, and then he also, of course, was breaking. And so if you guys haven't checked out,
he's his own personality.
Yes, he's his own personality. He's into it, and so Alex is we're going to talk about that, Sam.
I can't wait.
Yeah, that's going to be maybe in a second since you just saw it. So I don't even know what it was. I don't even want to stare at it. So, all right. So anyways, let's just talk about, just Alex's performance. I tell you what, man, what did you guys expect when he was going to start breaking? You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
basically what we expected.
yeah, like seriously, he was doing things like that when he was a coach. He was doing things like that when he was a fighter. You know, painting his face. He painted his face last year or 2 years ago at that tournament. You know, as a
Yeah.
tiger. He had a mascot. He dressed his wife up as a mascot. You know, so what do you expect now? You know, so I love that he's just having fun, and you know, people can hate on him or whatever, but it is what it is, man. He's having
Here-
fun, and he's doing
I
it.
do have opinions.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I'm going to say them. So
But here's the deal. I have a different thing because I grew up around breaking a lot more. In North Carolina, it's probably his biggest besides maybe Texas, right? And maybe Florida. So I see it a lot. And there's some crazy people. All right. I'm just telling you, breaking's a whole nother breed of people.
but you
all right?
have to be
Yes.
have to be kind of crazy to break stuff because there is no upside, right? It's not like if you do this, then you could, if you do really well, you could get into this echelon of breaking. Like, no, you either
Right.
break it or you don't. That's it. Right? It's just done, over with.
Done.
Right? But it's also why I like it. I don't ever desire to do this, but I love it because of its simplicity and because of its it's really easy to get behind. Like, you break this or you don't.
Right.
Simple. Done right there.
Yep.
I want to break this many bricks. That seems like suicide mission. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm badass. I'm going to do it. All right. I want to watch this happen because I don't think you're going to do it. Right?
Right. Right.
And if they don't do it, you go, oh, man, you still watched the dang thing. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? And if
Some
they
of the
do-
craziest
and if they do
things that
break it, then
yeah,
you're
some
like,
of the- oh, I know. But some of the
Oh, my
best
God.
ones I've ever seen, the most entertaining ones, were a lot of misses because all right.
I don't want to
So
watch a lot of this.
I had a friend of mine who literally put just a board that you would see, like, I don't know. I mean, I can't think of the measurements, but you would see maybe someone put this as like a shelving unit, right?
It'd be like,
and-
what is it, like the board in Karate Kid 2 that they break? Remember that one in Karate Kid 2 when it drifted
Yes.
up? That
Well, it's not that
Miyagi
big.
and
No,
his
no,
homeboy,
not like that,
the whole
but
thing?
yeah, like a big flat board, right? And it's like, well, how are you doing this? And the guy tried to just shin kick it, and his shin just bounced off of it. And then you just saw it immediately just swell up his leg. You're like, oh God, no. But Sam says, yeah, coconuts are crazy. The ladder break was crazy. Breakers had a decent crowd. The entire weekend was doing great and getting the crowd going. That's awesome. What's up, Andrew?
Always
right.
great to see you, buddy.
Yes. All right. So while we're here, let's go ahead. We can get to this topic.
Let's do that, and then we'll go back to the breaking.
Yes.
Because I got other things I want to say about what Alex is doing, how it's
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
and great things about it. But
All right.
this,
Just like
you can't make
Brett
it.
is
You
saying
gotta
one thing.
find
Hold on. Brett's saying it's his own subculture, just like tricking in the early 90s.
100%.
Big self-defense guys, stick fighting, etc. They do their own thing. Yeah.
100%. But it's the only thing it's also, we'll talk about it later.
All right. So Sam, go ahead. Tell everyone in the chat what you what was in your hotel room. So we're gonna get
Whoa, wait,
hotel-
whoa. Why don't you send them the link?
Yeah. Hold on. I don't.
While you're doing that, so let me set the stage. So we've all, whether it's been in a karate tournament or otherwise, you've checked into a hotel at some point in your life. And when upon walking into that hotel, you went, what the hell is this? Right? It's always happened. Or you've left the hotel room like, I hope nobody has to deal with that. Right? That's happened. So there's been a fair amount of those things. But so that's essentially kind of where this story takes place. Now, I will 100% say in my almost 44 years of life, karate tournaments are by far the craziest ones I've ever heard of, like being destroyed or experienced or anything. I mean, I've seen it all, I've heard it all, experienced it all from karate tournaments. And it's like, why? Why did we? Because
We did, Michael. We
for
did.
some reason, we have the craziest things happen to us, and we're freaking crazy, right?
Yes.
Absolutely nuts, right? So what is
I
it?
didn't know,
They ran out of
Andrew.
double beds?
Andrew, you were there. Andrew, they ran out of double beds. All right, I've heard that. I heard that they overbooked. Okay, so that happens. But
That
and
ha-
again,
I mean, that's not the-
when we're
it's not-
sharing this,
it's not
guys,
good, but it happens.
no. Everything I heard about though was that the Reyes's did a great job of taking care of people and trying to make it work for them, finding another place for them to go. Right. So
That's
that's good.
always good. So if a hotel like drops the ball, and then the Reyes is step up and be like, we got to take care of our people, because they probably could have went, hey, that's really not our problem. We're renting this place just like you guys. Because they could have went, hey man, we're not hotel yada da da. You know, we're renting it just like you guys are. I mean, I'm really sorry that they kind of screwed you guys. You could go check out another one if you want, but the whole tournament starts 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Right.
Totally could have been in the right to say that.
So I've been in a lot of different things. I've been where the AC didn't work and it was, like 100 degrees in the room. I've been, and you just kind of, and they couldn't fix it because all the other rooms were booked, right? I've also been where we had to get out of that hotel room because there was drugs, in the room, in the vent, right?
Whoa, time out. In the actual room you were in?
Yeah. So yeah. All right, hold on.
That's
Sam's
actually
in here.
amazing.
All right, Sam, let's play it.
All right, I gotta hear.
Okay,
Nice to meet
so
you, by the way,
how's it going, guys? So
What's
I
up,
got
man?
there at like 9 a.m. because check-in was the day prior or whatever.
9 a.m. Which day? Which day?
9 a.m. Friday.
Got it.
Event started at like 3 p.m. for me, so I got there a little bit early just to like, get
Word.
settled.
Smart guy.
They're like,
prepared.
okay, you can't check in yet. We'll give you a phone call. Here's like, write down your name, number, whatever. Cool. I was like, okay, let
That
me go
also
compete
happens.
and come back.
No red flags.
6 hours later, I didn't get a phone call. I'm at the front desk and they're like, oh, what's your name? I'm like, Sam Gonzalez, XYZ, this and that, right? Oh, we don't have a room for you.
Now you're
Yes.
pissed.
Yes, I'm stressed beyond my mind, this and that, because I'm with my girlfriend too. This is our first ever tournament together, like at this scale. So, yeah.
Might be the last. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah. And then the lady next to me, she got there like 10 minutes after me. She had a room already. I was like, oh, what about me? Right? I asked for my room 4 months ago or whatever. And I asked for 2 beds, this and that. They're like, oh yeah, we can give you a room, but you only have 1 bed. I'm like, no. I need 2 beds because it's me, my sister, my girlfriend.
Oh.
Like, I have a bunch of people, right? You can't just give me one tiny twin bed. It don't work like that. I'm paying $300+ for this. I expect something,
Right.
And then they're like, oh, we'll make accommodations. We'll find your room, right? The lady after the other one, she came in and she was like, oh, it's just me and my daughter. You can take my room. I was like, okay, cool. We trade rooms, this and that.
Whoa. She just,
God.
let's back up. So this other woman was like, hey, I don't need all of this. You can have my room. I'll take that one.
Yes. Shout out to
That
her.
does not happen.
Yeah, the karate gods blessed me this day with this person, but yes.
Maybe.
We'll get to that. So, so we trade rooms, and that was another fiasco. Not going to nitty gritty of that, but that was a whole situation.
But that's super cool.
Yeah. Shout out to her. So we're on the 3rd floor. I got to the room. As soon as you open the door, a whiff of a horrible odor.
Oh,
Wait,
God.
before you continue, had this woman had she gone to the room?
No.
Okay.
Because that would have been even better.
That
If
would
she
be
was like,
like-
you know what? I just thought maybe you should have it instead. That would have been awesome.
No,
Okay,
so
order. Continue.
so as soon as you walk in, you just smell like a bad odor. I don't want to say certain stuff right now, but you can imagine what it
Yeah.
smelled like.
You've heard me on the show plenty of times. Go ahead.
So I was like, oh my goodness, what's that smell? Let's try to like open the window, like do something, right? We I'm like in a loss for words how bad it smells.
Oh,
So we
that-
went through everywhere, this and that. We looked through the restroom. As soon as you open the restroom, oh wait, let's backtrack real quick. Sorry. When we got to the room, the door was already open.
Like
oh,
it was like cracked.
It was cracked open. Meaning A, someone already knew this, or B, someone has already been there,
right.
Recently.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Probably
So
within the hour or less.
yeah, probably. So that happened. You walk in the room, you smell this odor. We were looking around. Then we walk into the bathroom, the restroom. The water is already running. It's been running. The lights are on.
Somebody in
The-
this is how like the movie Taken starts.
so me and my girlfriend were shook. We're like, yo, this is like not it. And then we're still like looking around this and that. I put on SmackDown because it was Friday night. You gotta watch it. I'm sat down doing homework.
Whoa, pause. You haven't identified the odor, and yet you went and turned on SmackDown.
But
I
you
had
did,
to
man.
relax, got distract myself. so wait. So I put that on,
Smells
and
like a moose crapped out a rat, and you want to like relax.
I'm loose crap out of rats. Good one.
so we're
What did you think the odor was when you first
I-
walked in?
so
What did you think it was?
we thought it was like a dead rat or like something dead within the room. So we
Like
looked
in
through
the
all
bed.
the yeah. So
Ah.
we like, okay, let's just look through like underneath the bed, like the drawers, this and that, just in case. God forbid we find something, right? So I also had to iron my uniform, so I'm like, okay, let me look through the closet real quick to see if I can have an ironing board. As soon as you open the closet, the whiff just goes everywhere, and I'm like, oh crap! I think I just found where the smell is coming from. And then my girlfriend, we were looking at like everywhere, we can't see anything. So I took out her phone flashlight, and we're like, where is this coming from? I get on the floor
Oh.
and I look underneath. It was like some sort of ledge or safe thing. I kicked it. There's a there's a bag of what looked to be some sort of raw meat left over for months. It gave me Jeffrey Dahmer vibes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow.
Well, what kind
That's
of bag?
insane.
What kind of bag?
I have the picture if you guys want to see it.
Yes, I want to see this. What?
Yeah, just
It's
like
like a
straight
bag.
up, like yeah.
It's like a bag from the
Oh.
hotel, like one of those ice bags. And
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
that looks
well-
like they were gonna grill chicken.
What in the world? That's
It looks
insane.
like bone-in rib meat, maybe.
So
What are they doing? What do you do with that kind of meat? What that's clearly raw too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
yeah. So I
Did they bring
found
a
that
Fleming grill?
Yeah, Mongolian grill, right? They bring your own meat and put it on the grill.
Mongolian.
so
All right, what
we
happened?
found that and we were like obviously disgusted.
Yeah.
So we're like, yo, we need to find something. We tried calling on the hotel, like the room phone, didn't work. So we're like, oh, okay, let's go downstairs. My girlfriend at this point, she like took over because she saw how stressed I was because I
Yeah.
just came back from competition. I did all my CMX division. I did like 10 plus divisions that day, as
Yeah.
well like the hotel
Wait,
to
wait,
begin
wait,
with.
wait. You competed and you came back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my division started at 3, and I
Wait,
did all my
wait,
CMX. So
Wait, this is not making sense to me. So you walk into the room.
no. I competed first.
Yeah,
I
remember because
competed
the room?
first.
and then he
Then I
went.
have to
Yeah,
go.
because
Yeah,
remember they didn't have his room for him, so
yeah.
he just went and competed.
You
I
competed
compete.
without a room.
Yes, because they said, "Oh, we'll get it to you in like an hour." Never got the phone call. Then I had to go back after I competed.
I'm gonna be honest. I've been told this every single time I've gone to a tournament, and not one single time have I ever done that. I've always been like, "You got something," and I'm
Sorry,
gonna.
Leo.
Now you learn. Now you yeah.
Because when you wait and see what's left over, you get the random Mongolian meat room.
Oh,
So
nasty.
so that whole thing happened. My girlfriend ended up like taking over at this point. She was like, "You need to like," because I'm like I'm about to fight somebody. Like people keep on coming up to me. They're like, "Yo, like, how are you doing, Sam? How is it?" I'm like, "Don't talk to me." Keep in mind, I had to do an exam. I had to do a couple quizzes. I'm still in school,
Right.
right? So I'm competing, doing homework, doing exams, dealing with the hotel, dealing with the bag of Jeffrey Dahmer meat.
Still in the room at this point.
No. We left. We nah.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
left. We're like,
yeah,
no, we're not dealing with this.
Where'd
And then
you go?
we were in the what's the lobby area for like a minute. We were there for a while,
Yo,
and then
when you
my
told him no,
sister.
what did he say?
No, so my sister was also coming from Orlando. I had to pick her up too. So I'm worried about her, and her train's delayed now. So I'm like, everything's
Well,
going bad this
that's
day.
good that it's delayed because you need time to get a different room.
right.
Yeah. So my girlfriend ends up going to the staff, right? The guy's giving her like attitude, this and like, oh,
I've
everyone's
never been
complaining to me
happy
anyway.
with this, Don.
Everyone's complaining to me anyway. You're not the first person. Like, first of all, how is it like on anybody else's fault? It's your fault that all this stuff is happening. And then
Right.
they're like, oh, we'll get somebody to clean that for you. It took them at least 2 hours. So we got there at 6. Nobody was there in the room until like 8:30 or 9 p.m. to clean up the room.
Right.
You're too
What they
generous.
did was they had a random guy, he just came up and said, "Oh, what room is it?" He walks in the room, he's like, "Oh, where is this coming from?" He couldn't find it. I'm like, "Bro, if you go, you can smell it. You know where it is."
Yeah.
So we ended up having to like show him where it was. And then he ends up just picking up the bag and just walking out. And that left an odor in the hallway.
Sam, hang on.
Bro.
Time out. This is the point where you got to go time out. You knew that's what he was going to do.
Yes. Yes.
You knew that's what he was going to do ahead of time.
But to give myself some reasoning, I was tired at this point where like I didn't want to deal with changing this and that. So
there's no amount of me that would ever sleep in that room.
yeah, we didn't want to stay, but we were like something has to like improve, like whether to like give us an upgrade, this and that. They didn't, but so the guy just left, right? He just picks us up and leaves, and he just leaves it with the room, and we're like, okay, is someone gonna like give us some air spray or whatever? Nothing, whatever. We call. 45 to an hour. The same guy comes back with the spray. He's like, he sprays the spot. He says, "You guys will be good in 2 hours. You guys are fine." And I'm like,
2 hours.
bro, I'm not gonna wait 2 hours before I can even walk into the room and tell you if it's good or not.
Right.
It is 9:30 at this point. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So I ended up going back downstairs or down to the lobby with my girlfriend. She ended up managing to get a.
Yeah, I know.
She ended up arguing with them for a minute about like this whole situation. And then the guy was like, "Oh, we can't do anything about it." And I'm like, "No." Like either you give me a refund or we're fighting. Like because keep in mind, I didn't want to fight that weekend because I was already injured and I was scheduled. I wasn't gonna fight, but I had my fighting gear, so I was ready. So he ended up giving us a refund because he was just annoyed at us. And he was like, "Oh, I feel so bad. Here's some vouchers for breakfast." And then we're like, "Okay, like, sure."
Isn't breakfast continental?
The breakfast was just for a certain like day that we weren't
Yeah.
staying.
Free
So,
breakfast for November
so
3rd.
they gave us a random breakfast that we couldn't use
Oh my
because
god.
like we weren't there. We're gonna, you know. So that whole thing happened, and we're like, you know what? Screw this. I drove literally 2.5, 3 miles down the road to another hotel. The lady was like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, "No, this happened." She's like, "Oh, what did you find?" I showed her the pictures. Like, God. She ended up giving me like a 20 to 25% discount on the room. I ended up staying in that room. I got 2 beds, and then we had breakfast and it was the best decision I made for like $100 and something for the nights. I was like,
Right.
okay, that made my day. And I ended up picking my sister, and
Wow.
everything turned out well after that. So
Yo,
yeah.
Mike, it's pretty crazy. You cook that meat for breakfast. Yo, that's nuts, man. I am so sorry you had to deal with that. I've only had something similar where, and the thing is that it wasn't just me that had to do it. Everyone had to deal with it. So, and again, my buddy Corky Sykes had a tournament in his hometown, and unfortunately, there are no good hotels where he lives at, right? In a small town. And so all of us are staying in this hotel, and all of our clothes smell like sewage. Like, for when I got my clothes back, even the ones I didn't use, I washed them like twice because it smelled that bad. And everyone's like, "Yo, this is not good," you know. And so yeah, so he made some changes in the future for that, but that was bad.
Yeah, we had food that we just bought like 30 minutes ago. As soon as we
I'm not
walked,
hungry for 3 days after hearing this.
yeah, we just threw it away.
Yeah.
We couldn't eat the food because we were like, bro, this is absolutely disgusting. Like, we didn't want to eat. As soon as we got to the next hotel,
I'm
we
not going
took
to eat till
showers.
Wednesday after hearing this. So
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so
That's so bad,
but
man. I'm sorry. Yeah.
but the thing is, like, everyone had issues with the hotel in general.
Yeah.
My
In the
teammate,
past couple of years,
Yeah.
everyone has had issues. I know that. Yeah.
he had a room given to him, but someone was already in that room.
that's
Things like
weird.
that. It's like, how does that
Yeah.
happen?
That actually has happened quite a bit. I've had that before.
Well, all right. Here's one. All right. That happened to me in Vegas. Okay. That happened to me in Vegas one time where
that's
I
the
lost
good
my
part
room
that happened.
key. And so I went to the front desk. And the thing is like, well, actually, no, I got there. All right. And I dropped myself at the room. I didn't even remember the room number because, let's just say, my friend's like, "Hey, we're going out." So we're in Vegas. That's what happens, right?
Oh boy.
I left before everyone because that's just what I do, what I always did. And then I went and asked for the room key, and they told me the room number, everything. And so they gave me the wrong key to the wrong room. I go in there and I'm like, "Yo, this is not it. This is not my stuff." But it's like 3 a.m. And I'm just sitting there in this thing, like, I'm really tired.
No.
I'm really tired, but if I lay down right now and someone comes in and I'm in here, I'm gonna get beat up, or I'm gonna have to wake up and be in a fight. Let me not do this.
Oh, I
So
can't wait to hear how this goes.
I literally slept in the hallway until, like, behind a chair because yeah, it was one of
That
those
was
things.
boring. That's not where I thought it was gonna
Oh,
go.
no, I was not gonna stay in that room.
I'd have done
I'm
it.
not gonna do that. And then the one I was talking about in Canada one year, there was like a lot of people had found, like, and I don't mean just like pot or whatever, like all kinds of different drugs in their room. Like, everyone's, like, the heater or the AC unit had like drugs hidden there, and it wasn't just one room; it was multiple rooms that
Yeah,
happened to.
keys.
Yeah, they were spreading all over the place, man.
What city was this in?
That was in Toronto in like 1999 for when Bernardo did the tournament there. Yeah.
man. I mean,
Crazy
we've
stuff.
all had like a bunch of chaotic things. And that's the thing is like, you think that like when you're done, like when you got to go talk to the hotel front desk, you think it's like, I'm going to go tell them. And that's not always the best success because you
No.
have to think about like, what do I want the end result to be? If I could go, boom, that's what I want, the perfect scenario for me. You have to think about like, how am I going to accomplish that? Because they are prepared for people to yell and scream.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're not gonna, you gotta go about it a different way. Now, I've had plenty of screaming matches. I've had that, right? But I've also had times where it's like, come on, Edna. Come on, Edna.
Come on.
You don't want to let me sit here. I promise you this is the case, right? I'll tell you this one. This one's not that long. All right. I told people before that Greg Betlock and I were always like traveling buddies, rooming buddies. That's what we did for like, I don't know, like 3 years, right? I loved doing it with Greg because I would call Greg Angry Greg because I would push his buttons and he would fight amazing, right? So, and I was the best at it. Nobody could push this guy's buttons better than me, right? But I would have to come in and handle customer service things instead of him. So when I remember one time we went to the US Open, and we've all been to the Coronado Springs, and when they tell you, yeah, you're not going to get anything for 4.5 hours, and this dude eyes get super big, I can see his face getting red, and I'm like, homie, I got you. Right? Go take a walk. Go give me a ginger ale, right? And I'm like, I'll yell at her. Don't worry about it. I got it taken care of. I ain't yelling at nobody. I'm like, Edna, come on. Do you really want to? Come on, Edna. You want me to just sit out here the whole time? I mean, I'll hang with you if you want me to hang with you, but you got work to do. You want me out of your hair. I mean, what would it take? Is there anything around? And I'm essentially saying stuff like this. Now, Greg and I have this idea. He had this rule. He's like, I don't want to go any further than Casitas 3. Because you know that, like, that's far, right?
Yeah.
You know, Sam, have you ever been to the US Open?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
live in Orlando.
So he
So
lives there.
Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right?
yeah.
When you get there, Casitas, once you get to like 4 and 5, you're like, this
No.
sucks. This
Yes.
is a 28-minute walk, right? And that's not an exaggeration, right?
No, and then we're talking about like the dead of the heat and the most like humid
114 degrees with 200% humidity. Yeah.
right.
4th of July weekend, like always. Somehow, I sweet talked Edna into giving us a room, and I promise, we from our hotel room, we can see the entrance that we walk into. Right?
Nice.
That's how close we are. I mean, I'm telling you, we are under a minute, all right, to walk into the convention center.
Yeah.
Awesome, right? So you want to scream, you want to yell, you want to say, yeah, I would have, and I would have. It doesn't always work. But I thought the end result of your story was gonna be that, like, yeah, dude, and there was this dead rat, or somebody took a dump in the. That's what I thought it was going to be. Not that someone was cooking up chitlins.
Oh man. Oh well, Sam, that's a terrible story, but a great story. Thanks for sharing. While
It
you're
made a
here,
moment.
yes, while you're here, like share some of the good things about the tournament for you, that some highlights that you saw.
Oh, a lot of different competition. So obviously with the whole administration stuff with visas and stuff, a lot of people did not ended up going to Miami. Like a lot of Canadians and Europeans, they didn't show up, and Latin Americans. But there were a lot of local, not local, but like regional people who stood out. Most notably in the 18 plus division, I want to give a shout out to Hamza. He just joined Competitive Edge, Hamza Tai.
Okay.
He's from Orlando at Florida Sport. He ended up medaling in extreme and creative non-bladed. He did really well the weekend. and then traditional non-bladed. Also a bunch of people in the fighting like Christian Rivas, Kareem, Katan. They all do amazing as
Yeah.
as normal.
Right.
But it was just interesting seeing them match up with different people who you don't normally see them with.
Right.
Right. Like getting to see Jason, Enrique, and Kareem fight together, right? That's a
Yeah,
fun one, right? That's a fun
yeah,
one to see that, And then you also had like all the guys from Hector's group, right? Hector Solari and his team, right?
yeah.
And Murphy.
Everyone from Velocity,
Yeah,
Aztecas, Murphy's group.
right.
Um, there was interesting. A lot of people from Guatemala still ended up showing up. I had a couple people in my musical and extreme division compete against me. Um, a lot of people ended up doing a lot of different divisions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
WKC was
most of the
happening.
Canadians, it was WKC Nationals, so that took a
Yeah,
lot of high-level people away.
but a lot of people ended up doing a lot of surprises. Sorry, a lot of surprises in many of the divisions because of the fact that not many people that you would normally see ended up
Mhm.
going or not going. So
Right.
yeah,
And then one of the things that I noticed was, like, it was the return of Salif competing, right? So that was pretty
yeah.
cool to see.
He
Yeah.
also did teams with
Asia.
what's her name? Yeah, Asia,
Yeah.
and they did pretty well. So
Yeah.
shout out to them.
Interesting that he chose this tournament to come out to.
He's got several like people that he coaches and stuff out in that area. And I know he's been there several times doing seminars and training.
Mhm.
But I also like think that all right, he hasn't. So it's like, all right, let's get this one in before maybe he does Atlanta and US Open, right? I mean, why not? And a lot of people have used this tournament for that, right? And all the videos I saw, he looked awesome. And again, to see him and Philip go against each other, that's a great final, right? That's a great one.
Word.
So, any other things to highlight, like as far as what did you say, Alex?
Well, I was gonna say sometimes when people choose tournaments, it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I can't wait for this tournament. Sometimes scheduling it just works out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I really would have. I can't make Battle of Atlanta, but this one worked perfect. You never know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I do want to say, from Florida at least, a lot of people in the Florida area they were either graduating or finishing the exams, finals, so that
Yeah.
also had a
Same.
factor. So
That's nationwide.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I know that did affect a lot of numbers too, but so if you can manage to work around it, it did look like a lot of people tried their best to show up. So
Well, like, how
Yeah.
about this? Speaking of that, Jeb, how many times did we have either us or like people we knew skip their prom to go to karate tournaments?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yep.
did that. I'll never forget. Right. I had a life-size crush on this person. And here's what's crazy. She asked me, and I was like,
Wow, man.
yes. Heck yeah. How much? When is it? Because it wasn't my school. She's like, oh, it's like May 20th. And I'm like,
New England Open. Right?
New England Open.
Yep.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah. Well, because I remember Casey Marks Nash. Like her graduation, they had her put in her cap and gown, and after she performed on stage, just to be like, hey, Jeannie's like, hey, she's gonna walk somewhere with this thing. All right, we're gonna do it at a tournament. She walked across the stage, and all right, she graduated today. She chose to come to this tournament at New England.
Oh, that would have been like what, 99,
It was
98?
90.
Eight.
It was 98. Yeah,
I think it's 98. I think she's a year older than me. So yeah. That's cool. But see, when you're Casey, you could do stuff like that. When you're on stage anyway, and it's like it would have been like if Jackson Rudolph did that.
Right. Exactly.
You're like, all right, Jackson, we love you. You're adorable. We want to see you here anyway, and you're gonna win. All right, I suppose so.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Just all the different stuff that people do for this sport, right?
See, Andrew did it. Andrew
Yep,
skipped Prompto Bluegrass.
Andrew did as well. All right, Sam. So there were some new trud winners, traditional winners for this weekend, which was cool. You know, you had Cameron Kloss that won the overall for the men's side. Lily
Matthew.
won the overall for the women's side. Matthew, what are you talking about? Weapons?
Matthew won weapons and weapons
Matthew, who?
overall.
Say that again.
Matthew Moore
Okay.
from
And that was
Competitive Edge.
for competitive edge. All right. Yeah.
And then for the 30 plus, my teammate Chris
Yeah,
Barnes,
Chris.
he won 30 plus overall trad weapons. So
Or
shout out
just
to him.
overall weapons. Yeah, overall weapons.
Overall
yeah.
weapons.
Yeah. And
The
then
names
who won
always
the
confuse me.
who won the female for the 18 plus traditional weapons? Do we know?
Melanie Strauss, I believe.
For the 18
Give me-
plus, or you're talking about 30 plus?
Give me a second.
Usually
I got
she's in the
Juventus open.
Oh, okay. Nice, smart. See, we don't do all that multitasking stuff. I'm already doing multitask stuff by doing all this. So that's that's some good things there.
Trad weapons was Lily.
Oh, Lily won both of those.
Yeah,
or she
she
won.
won both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great wins for her. You know, and that was a much needed again for her. Again, a much needed win moving into Battle of Atlanta, which is more of her home tournament. You know, so and Andrew, I know, man, you're on a roll, winning all the 50 plus.
Whoa, hang on though.
What?
Time out. Andrew, 50 plus?
You didn't know he was in 50 plus?
No. In my mind, Andrew's like a year or two older than me. All right. I keep forgetting that Andrew's like, you know, like this, like what is it, like the 6 degrees of separation? I think with Andrew, in regards to martial arts, you only need 2, right? And you can reach any martial artist around the world in the history of martial arts.
I think Andrew's like that. I think I'm like that. I think there's several ones like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Kowalczyk won 30 plus. So yeah, man. So lots of good things, lots of great competition for the juniors. And again, I think it's an important tournament for people to get, maybe they haven't done as much or want to get that seed. So that way they have seed for these next 2 big tournaments, because these next 2 tournaments are really the 2 of the biggest of the year, as far as like numbers wise, high level competition wise. And I think it's going to be interesting too, with the gap between them compared to in the past years. It's been only 2 weeks between the 2 tournaments. With battle on that. So I'm interested. That's going to be good or bad. So
I'm interested about that too, because I can see it both ways.
Yeah.
Because a guy in my position, you go, come the frick on. All right. I'm not doing it like that. But
somebody from overseas,
and you're like, hey, Summer, let's just do it. This is when we can do it. Right. It makes, now I get it. All right.
Yeah.
Now I'm on this side. All right.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, and also, Alex, like people from either, Latin America or other countries, right now you have US Open. Then the next week you can do Vice City. And then the next week you can do US Capital Classics. And that way you just stay in the States for 2 or 3 weeks and travel, and you do those 3 events, and 3 really good events. They're all going to be completely different too.
Well, so and that exact thing, that's why that's an example. Like, I don't know if you remember, wow, it's crazy. It was 10 years ago when it happened. When Roman came and he goes, hey, I'll meet you at the Battle of Atlanta and I'll team fight with you and Ross. And then I'll come to Chicago, train with you guys. Then I'll go to the US Open, and then I'll go, because then I think he went to Rhode Island, and he trained with Ray, Ross, Robbie. what was Hugh's wedding? Hugh's wedding was out there at that time.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why all the guys were there. So when he was in town, when he was in the country, it was like, hey, it's just the same thing as being in town if you're from Austria, right? So, but because they were only like a week apart or two, it was like, hey, this makes sense. We can do that. Now you can do exactly what you're saying. We can prolong this thing. So, I mean,
yeah. I mean, I get it. I like it. I haven't been able to do that, but I mean, there's a lot of different things to do. Like I've even thought of getting people coming in for a week and training my school, especially a lot of my private lesson students, the week of DC, because they can come in, do like a training camp, and then drive over, to Cap Classics, and I still call it DC, and so is Andrew. It's not DC, it's National Harbor, and it's been there for almost probably more than 10 years now, and we still call it.
I think it was
way like 15 years. I think it was 2010 or 2011. That was the first year.
Maybe 11. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been, I tell you, it's the best place it's ever been.
Yeah.
Well,
I like down in DC, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It's so cool because there's so many things in National Harbor.
Yeah.
Like when we go to a tournament.
You've been, Sam, right? To Capital Classics or no?
I was there like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay,
I was still a junior.
Yeah.
Well, what's cool? What we hate is going to a tournament. Like, all right, we brought up New England Open at that time, like a tournament like that in that type of venue where you go there and you're in Marlborough, Massachusetts, and there's nothing for a minimum of a 45-minute drive, right?
Yeah.
There's a McDonald's that you can walk to in 18 minutes, right? And that's it, right?
Yeah.
We hate feeling trapped, which is whatever, right? But in National Harbor, it's pretty dang cool. It's in August, so it's not like it sucks. You know what I mean?
And for a lot of people, it's like the last week before they go back to school or something. So it's a good, tournament for that.
Word.
So I think in a lot of ways, the schedule for NASCA has been better this year than maybe in the past. There wasn't too many tournaments. There's back to back. And now it does make it to where US Open and Capitals are 2 weeks apart. But now in the past, like a week after or 2 weeks after was usually American. Now that's going to be Labor Day weekend. So that gives you more time, especially with those two tournaments, it really being the closest two tournaments, especially for people on the East Coast, right? It's like, why? Like for my students, it's like for me, hey, I want you to do both of these. But in the past, it's like, sorry, we kind of have to pick one because I know it's just a lot to ask, right? So this year, everybody's got enough time between both. So beginning of August, end of August, leading into Labor Day. So
what do you do?
Yeah.
When you because your students, you have to educate them to a certain degree on tournaments. Do you just kind of figure out like, here's every tournament that you could possibly go to that I might go to, and go, here you go. I'll be at the ones that are in blue.
Yeah, somewhat. It's a lot right now. I mean, honestly, I really set myself up for failure when I say, hey, go to the Battle of Atlanta or US Open when I know already I'm insanely busy and packed. And now I'm going to ask my students to go too. I'm like, what was I thinking? You know what I mean? Like,
wait a minute. When you ask them to go, like, is it really, are you asking them? Because you don't got nothing to do with the battle. It's not like you're promoting it and like you need them to go.
No. But what do you mean? Like, no, but here's the deal.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm also I coach Revolution. I have at least 15 students that I teach virtually that I run there. I'm doing private lessons. I'm doing camps. I'm also competing myself.
So there's a lot there. That's what it is. You're just too nice.
Too nice. It's a
business. Because like when I do it now, well, I'll say this. At the later part of my teaching and coaching career, it was fighting only. All right.
Yeah.
Like if I had anybody who was really good at forms, I was like, why don't you go talk to this Mike Welch guy? All right. Honestly.
Yeah.
Right. So then it was a little easier. So, but I would tell them that. I would be like, yo, you want to go check out Marikick. This is when it's going to be. And I would give them the schedule. Like as soon as I had it, like boom, everyone would have it. But
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I have a spreadsheet where I have every single league. So ProMac, NASCA, USA Sport Karate, every single league available.
that's what I'm
And
talking about.
I highlight which one I'm going to go to so that my students or my teammates, they know, oh, Sam's going to be here. He can coach me. He can
Right.
give me private
Oh,
lessons.
no. See, then you set yourself up for failure.
No,
So-
no. The thing is, I give them the warning.
Now you're held hostage.
See, I give them the warning. I'm gonna do 12 divisions as it is. Don't rely on me to be there because
Right.
9 times out of 10, I'm gonna be competing all day anyway. So
Right.
I'll be there. I'm not sure if
Right
I'm
now,
gonna be there
they
for
don't care.
you. So
They don't care.
Yeah, you're nuts, man. You're nuts.
I would.
You're nuts.
I'd be like, here, this would be good for you. You should really go and check this out. And you know why? Because Jeff,
Well, yeah.
that's what our instructors did. No, that's what my instructors did. You didn't even
Yeah.
have anybody telling you to do that. You were
Who?
just like a
Me?
scavenger trying to figure out where to turn. You didn't even have a karate school.
Oh, for about 10 years I didn't. Yeah, but I was already
Yeah,
in.
you didn't know that, did you, Sam?
I
You
was
didn't have a karate
already.
school for a decade. Was
Yeah.
out there competing at the top of the game, and nobody knew. Guys like me were like, "Damn, look at Jeff Dosco." Had no clue. This guy didn't even have a school to train in.
Yeah, I was training outside in the on the farm.
What?
Yeah, I was doing a wheelbarrow sprints, Throw whatever I could in the wheelbarrow, sprinting, running forward with it, then turn around, pulling it, and then do my form. And then this is the stuff that I would do.
You
Yeah.
messing with me right now?
No, I'm serious. And the thing is, my house it was like a hill too. It was really, so it was it was good. Good
I
training.
feel like you're messing with me.
No, I'm serious right now. I really did that. I throw whatever I could into that wheelbarrow. Like we had a bunch of cinder blocks, a bunch of I had dumbbells that I would go and throw into that. And then I run do my forms. Ask
not-
Leroyce when you see Leroy
It's realistic. It's real.
real.
It's a pretty good idea. It's not that funny, but I'm picturing you do it, and that's what makes it funny.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
it's a
man.
hit workout. You got hit it,
yeah.
bro.
That's right.
Actually, a phenomenal idea.
Yeah. It was great.
All right,
And then I jump on the trampoline,
you jump on the trampoline.
Yeah, man. That's how I worked a lot of my spins. That's how I was able to do a lot of my spins because I didn't have that jumping ability. So
Did you jump on the
but being able
trampoline?
to jump on the trampoline and then spin. That's how I got my 720s and 1080s.
Word.
But yeah. All right. Tell us about the break-in because we're gonna get in that while you're here. You know what? Why not join us and talk a little bit? I know
we got so many other
right
things
now.
to get on. I gotta tell you something.
And we
happened.
can yeet a little bit right now.
Okay, I'm watching it too. I thought it was crazy.
No. I have it right here. Okay.
So I know when it comes to the breaking stuff, I know there was a big crowd the entire night.
Oh, yeah. Understandable.
Mainly because of like people like Alex. He's encouraging a lot of people to watch him, and like the entire atmosphere as a whole is like it's very intriguing. I know when we first walk in there, or me and my girlfriend first walked in there, she was like,
Right
"Oh,
on, Andrew.
I want to see that." I was like, "Okay, go for it," because she's seen me do forms and like fighting. She's like, "Oh, you're lame. You suck at fighting. You suck at forms. Whatever." Right? So she.
What?
Wow.
Okay.
How long you been
She's
dating- Wait, Sam. How long you been dating this person?
5 years now.
Oh, all right.
So she's been seeing me for a while. She's been seeing my forms and fighting
How
for a
old are
while.
you? How old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not a fan of people dating someone for years with nothing else. But I mean, that would make you
sound like my mom.
16. So,
Well, I mean, don't even ask me how long my relationship's been.
oh, I got something for you by the end of the show. Don't worry. All right. I got something for you. Don't worry. But all right, you got a year deadline. We're gonna check in. You need an update.
It needs to
All right.
probably be. That probably needs to be a month, 2 months. So
Yes. Seriously.
go
Wait,
ahead. Sorry,
Continue.
talk about break.
You're talking about breaking.
breaking. I know a lot of the breakers, it was the same notable faces that are always on Point Fighter Live, like Felix the Cuban Cowboy. I forgot their other names, but it's the same faces that you always see.
Yeah.
My teammate Anthony, he
You
was
go like this.
Yeah, no, Anthony's good, man. Anthony's really good.
yeah. I know my teammate Anthony, he won the Power Concrete Kicking division. So it's
What does that mean? Like he broke the most?
yeah.
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 They're both
From
side
what
kicks.
I understand.
So I'm assuming
Since I'm
he sidekicked a bunch of bricks.
yeah.
Well, how
As
many?
a- as a-
how many did he break?
I don't remember. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, I know the week before or 2 weeks ago, I think he broke like 12 out of 14 or something like that.
Yeah, he went to one in TCT. I forgot
Yeah.
the Southern Showdown, and
Yeah.
he
won the power
won
break. punch.
ultimate power breaking over there.
Yeah, and broke
He's a
14.
good all around breaker when it comes to power, elbow, side kick, or
Yeah.
hammer fist.
Yeah.
He does really well in all his divisions. He in fact was runner up to the ultimate grand power breaking. I don't really understand how they divide that stuff up, especially
Yeah.
because like they don't really have it on screen. They have it on paper, like old school. So like
Mhm.
they'll call you their name up, be like, okay, you're breaking set up for whatever division is, and then they write down the amount
Like
of
Josh
bricks or
Lopez, you're up right now.
Right.
yeah, and then do your thing, score, that's it.
And then, so it's legit old school. That no screens, just go. How do they score this? Just
I
Josh
believe
broke more than Fred.
I
That's
believe
it?
it's based on that, and it's also divided into weight groups. So you have a lightweight and a heavyweight group, because that has a factor to do with
100%.
how much you can break.
Yeah.
I know
I
one of my good friends, Jesse Jones, he was in the lightweight category for a bunch of his stuff, and he won his lightweight categories. But compared to Anthony, who was in the different division, the amount of bricks you're breaking or concrete is
it's
different based on
Yeah.
weight.
Yeah, it's
It
pretty
was-
cool. I mean, the thing is about Anthony too is that he's a solid fighter too, and so it's
Yeah.
really cool to see that really beginning of this year that was what he was going to focus on was his fighting, and then these next few terms kind of happy to say, all right, I guess I'm getting back into breaking, so
He's coming off of an injury too, so the fact
Yeah.
that he's competing in general is like shocking.
What kind of injury?
He was in a
shoulder, right?
car accident. Yeah, he was
No,
in a car
not like-
accident.
Not like I twisted my knee. Like
Yeah,
No,
a car ran me
his
over.
shoulder got jacked up. Yeah, he
Yeah.
had surgery.
and then he had surgery not too long ago. Got back into competing around March, sometime in
thought
March during.
Yeah, his
Wait.
surgery was around like February or the beginning of March, and then he came back in April to compete.
April. Yeah. Sorry, I got my
Yeah.
timeline mixed up.
Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Nobody should.
So-
He should
I
still be
know he's crazy. He's crazier than me, low key, because like breaking stuff is a different realm.
Well,
I
you don't
like
seem so crazy, Sam. I'm gonna be honest. You seem like a pretty cool, level-headed guy.
Jeff. Would you confirm?
I mean,
Let's
no,
pause.
you got a little crazy. You got a little crazy.
I got
mean,
the Hispanic,
I think
the
I
Puerto
got a
Rican
little
in me.
crazy too. So it's like yeah, it's just what it is. But we both seem chill right now. But there's also a little crazy in there. All right.
I mean, we all do martial arts, so we got to be messed up somewhere. So
Okay.
You know he's right
All right.
about that. You know he's right about that.
Yeah. All right. I'm not. Okay. I follow you.
Oh man. But yeah, I
But-
mean, I think the craziest thing, Sam, that I saw was, and honestly, it's just hilarious.
We all know what it was.
When Alex had the board in between the ladder, and he hits it, and he looks through, honey, I'm home, and I'm like, oh, yo, it popped me. I couldn't.
I wasn't even thinking that. When I was watching was the jump
Off the ladder.
off the ladder and the double.
I've seen him
the
do
double
something
hammer
like that
fist and
before.
the-
Well, he did the double hammer fist before when he broke the door with the elbow. That was cool. He did that at a tournament before.
Now I heard this. What was with the throwing of the chairs?
Bro.
What
Yeah,
do you-
Alexander
look at me like
Carlos.
bug-eyed.
Alexander
I heard-
Carlos.
So we heard stories.
Yeah,
about-
so what he did, he kind of did like he did a little bit of a self-defense thing, and like he got beat up, and then he kind of comes up alive like the Hulk, and then he like took a chair and threw it, and I guess it was where some other people were warming up, and so that could have ended up really bad. That was the only
Yeah.
part I saw. I showed
heard-
my
we heard
daughter and
stories
my
like-
wife that. Yeah.
Yada da da. We were training, just getting kind of warming up, and then zoom, like a chair
Yeah.
flies right past our face,
Yeah.
and then you look over and just the chair is just in pieces.
Yeah.
They
All
got
right,
inspired by
anything else you
WWE.
got to add there, Sam?
No, the breaking was pretty big for the juniors too, the underbelt division. There was a minimum at least 30 plus kids just breaking, doing the
Dang.
stomps, hammer fist. So
Okay.
it was a pretty I can't speak English. It was a pretty big category, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to see the sport grow in any sense, and the fact that breaking is growing is just great in general. So
All right, help me with this, Sam. I'm not a breaking
Okay.
guy. Okay, I'm not. So not only is that not like an activity, a division for me, I really don't know a lot about breaking. Right? What are the different divisions?
So I'm gonna preface this is I don't break either. I'm just
Okay,
happen
if
to
you
be
know, you know. If you don't know, okay.
I just happen to be very close with a lot of good breakers. Like Anthony, he won world championships for breaking 2
Sure.
years ago in Daytona.
You could say
I
it's
know
something I wouldn't know.
I know there is power concrete, concrete elbow. So
Yeah.
power
Technically,
basically
that's its own division.
yeah, so they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
down
fair.
elbow, they have side kick, like kicking division. They have
So like
cross.
everybody has to do this one break.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
they measure how many
You break.
individual items they break.
Yeah.
They also got wood breaking. So instead of concrete, it's
Yeah.
wood.
Yeah.
Without spacers and with spacers.
Oh, dude, wood without spacers is basically concrete.
Yeah. But
It's-
what I saw more was without spacers. I feel like that's just a testament to them trying to prove themselves more, you know?
Yeah, at
Because-
that point, like, what are you trying to prove, guy?
Right.
Like, what
They-
the freak for?
There was also a division called creative breaking.
Yeah. So creative breaking
From-
is like creating your own breaking setup and everything, kind of like, and that's what I grew up with in
Yeah.
the North Carolina in the NBL area. That's all we had was creative breaking.
The ones that I would watch, that I would get excited about, that's the ones I got excited about watching.
Yeah.
And like
But
the
they
late
mix
90s,
everything in
yeah,
concrete, boards, everything, like a lot of different stuff. Like the old guy back in the day that put his finger through the Coke can. Remember that
that's
one, right?
exciting.
Yeah, yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah.
I mean, the power breaking, the power side kick, like that's crazy. But like when you see like the creative breaking, that's what I got excited to see. What's happening, Mom? All right. Where you would see like, okay, I remember the US Open. Gosh, it was probably 98.
It was 98.
You know which one I'm talking about.
You're talking about when Kim Do did it, right?
Bingo. That's the one.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
And
cool.
I'm like, and he made me kind of think like, I don't know, man. Should I? But
Right.
Kim's one of those guys where he's like, Kim can do everything. All right. In martial arts. If there's something in martial arts, Kim can do it 100%. Right. So, but it did make me think like, dude, I should try something like this. This was really cool. Right. But Kim, he was probably 141 pounds. right?
Right.
Maximum. That's only because he's tall,
But
right?
he's tall. Yeah.
He ain't breaking through multiple bricks doing a side kick. That ain't
Yeah.
happening.
Let's see. I know. See, there was a kid that was in the flyweight division, NBL fighting. So that was 124. And he was also a 3-time breaking world champion. And I've
No.
seen him punch through eight bricks, like an elbow through like 10 with that lightweight. Like it's crazy. And then hit breakboards at 540s and aerials and stuff like,
But see, there are certain guys that
yeah.
like looking back at it, you go, yeah, they'd probably be pretty awesome at breaking.
Yeah,
I think Marty Eubanks would be awesome at breaking.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think Tony Young would probably be a pretty good breaker. I think Pedro would probably be really good at breaking. But you look at like his kicking and you're like, oh, no. But if you look at like, the way he fought, like just his way of martial arts at the time was really cool. All right.
Well, yeah,
So,
Kevin Thompson would have been one of the best.
Kevin Thompson.
Right.
Heck yeah. I also agree. Why? I don't know. This hand, I can't even make a fist. How am I going to break something?
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like you can't do too many other divisions if you're going to be breaking.
EJ Greer. Right on. Yes, I could see that too.
Ben says Robbie.
But Robbie would be, you know what would be cool to see Robbie? This would be great. If Robbie did the creative breaking, he did the spin hook kick.
Oh yeah.
When you hold it completely straight up. If Robbie did that, I bet you he could do that tomorrow.
So do they have speed breaking like where they do the boards? Do they do that? Because I know that's big in Taekwondo. So AAU Nationals has the speed breaks with spins. They have the speed breaks with all the stuff. And now they have the thinner boards, but that's interesting how they do. And they'll just go boom, 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 like for a minute straight and try to break the record.
I don't remember seeing any of that. They might have. I just know that they had like more so technique divisions like stomp, hammer fist, elbow, side kick, things like that.
Yeah. Awesome.
What's like the coolest break you've done, Jeff? I'm not a breaker. I'm not a guy who breaks a lot of things.
So
what's one that you like? You know what?
People don't know. I was actually for like a year, 2 years. I was on a team that was mostly breaking. I was the only forms person on a breaking team. So, and so that's when I started because I would take their extra boards they have and I would break it over my head to get me pumped up before I walked in. Is
that where that started?
That's where that started. Yeah. So, because I did the water bottle before, I was like, I got to level up the water bottle. So I did the water bottle. Then I was like, hold on, and I would pull out the board and boom, like that. Yeah. So, and a lot of times,
how did you break it? Did you break it by grabbing it and then snapping the top half?
Yeah, speed break. Yeah, a speed break. And a lot of times I would do two because when you do two, one would go this way, one would go that way. It'd be really cool. So that was fun. To me, the best two.
Grab it and go like this.
Yeah,
they're about to concuss themselves.
Yeah, I don't do that. No. The hardest ones that I've done have been two self-held ones where I will hold the board and I'll do a twist kick and speed break with a twist kick. Yeah. I have a video of that somewhere.
Whoa. Yeah. What? You have a video of this?
Yeah, I posted it a while ago. Yeah. That one's cool. And then the other one is where I will hold the board straight over my head and break it with a front kick, speed like that. Sorry. Like that.
Jeff, this is your new division. You need to do this, man.
Creative breaking is there. You got that.
So years ago, the whole idea was to do my form and just add breaks to it, right? So like I'm doing a creative form and then all of a sudden people just showed up and pulled it and you just boom and just, like that would be cool, right? But it'd be really hard and difficult. You need a bunch of people holding stuff. And then imagine
the amount of people who are at Pan Ams, you could have done that
before. Look at even my mom wants to see that.
Oh man.
I have never been, like I said,
I'm excited about ISK for this. So
I've never been a big breaking guy, right? So I remember there was a time, this was probably like 96 or 97. Okay.
Yeah.
And all of the guys in NK at the time they were like, we're gonna opposite. I just went into one like instructor meeting and everyone was like, we're trying this break and we're trying that break and we're doing this. And I'm like, I'm a teenager at the time, right? I'm 16, 17, right? 16, right? And they're all doing this. And I'm like, you guys are freaking nuts. None of this means anything. I remember thinking that at the time, like, none of this means anything. This is so stupid, right? And I'm like, I'm going to try a 360 round kick, just a 360 roundhouse kick. And I broke it. I'm like, that was freaking cool. And my foot hurts so freaking bad right now. Sucks so bad, right? So stupid. I never want to do this again, right? And then it was a guy who was like, Bruce Lee can knock a guy back into a chair. I can break a board. I'm like, it's a great point. He tried the 1-inch punch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a great point, right? If Bruce Lee can knock a guy back into a chair, I can break a board. Fantastic point. That's a cool break. If you've never done it, just going boom, like really fast. Just do it. Yeah. You feel like Bruce Lee. You're not, but you feel like you're like Bruce Lee. But dude, I'm not a breaking.
So again, I've tried it before and I did it, but I didn't. It was like the 1-inch kick. So where you point your toes like around and you change it to a side.
Stop.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Hang on a second. Let me check. I'm putting my foot up. Sam not both just did the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
We both just leaned back. We got our foot up. How the hell?
I know. I don't know. No. It's hard.
Everyone listening right now is just doing the exact same thing in the exact same moment. Everyone's got their leg in the air right now.
Just
All right, I'm gonna do that this week. I'm gonna work on it. So that way you guys can believe it can be done.
Wait, what kind of board are we talking? Like, is this like a real board?
I do like a 1-inch thick board, not like a little. No, the real board, yeah, like the ones I get all my boards from Lowe's and Home Depot. Yeah.
All right.
That's the best thing ever. Honestly, is like going to Lowe's and Home Depot and getting this big board, put it on your shoulder, and then going to them to cut it for you and just being like, all right, how do you want me to cut this?
What is this for?
So
I've done that.
Can you give me 24? They're like, wait, what? What are you doing? Why are you got all these small boards? Like, we're breaking at the karate school. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
For my sister took their black belt test together. We had to get like 50 something boards for each of them individually. So because they did Taekwondo back then. So and it wasn't like the paper ones. The paper like thin one. It was
How thick is it? Is it like?
I think it's 1 inch. Well, no, it's.
I think it's 1 inch.
Yeah, it's 1 inch, and then usually you go.
It's. I think it's number 2
pound. 1 by 12. Yeah, 12, and then you however thin you want it. You can do 12 by 12. You can do. A lot of people would do like maybe 8 by 12.
12 by
if you really
12,
want it smaller, you would do like 5 by 12. A lot of times for the little kids to do that.
And I'm okay with that reality. If you want to bring it down to like 5 or 6 by 12, because the person breaking it is 6 years old, I'm good with that. I'd rather that than get those air boards. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because because when they try to break it and they're like, I'm just gonna like this, and it doesn't break, and then it's like, no, you got to work your butt off here, Charlie. Right?
Charlie. Hey, Charlie.
It's a kid. You insert whatever, right?
All right. So overall, a good Pan Ams for you, Sam. Just I know it's kind of rough, but you got a good story to share. And now.
I was on the edge of my seat.
Don't leave the meat. Don't leave the meat. Out of the fridge too long. Don't leave it in the fridge too. Don't mess with that raw meat, man.
Yeah, I just know next time. I'm probably not going to stay in that place.
Yeah. Oh man, so Pan Ams, get a backup hotel next year, okay? So that way you make a little bit off
Airbnb. Something.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah. All right, Sam. Well, this was fun having you on. Thanks for sharing, dude. And
We
it
got
was
more
kind
to
of
go, though.
crazy, a crazy way. Yeah, we're gonna do our best, our check follow-ups, and I'm sure we will see you next week, man. Have a great
All right,
Memorial
see
Day weekend too.
See you,
you
Sam.
guys.
Okay.
All right.
Before we get into this,
Okay.
I have
we,
to tell-
we,
I know,
Travis-
but I have to tell you what happened to me this weekend. And I told you it's
Oh,
going to come full circle. I have something for you.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
Check this out, Jeff. On Friday, I officiated my first wedding.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot you told me about that.
Yeah, I officiated my first wedding, and I'm nervous, right? I'm making sure I printed it out, right? I got it in front of me. I'm going through everything. And listen, nobody's more prepared for a wedding when they get there than I am. Like, I am buttoned up, right? And I've been to this venue before, so I know exactly what I'm doing. It's a really good one, right? The Hyatt Lodge in Oak Brook, Illinois. Like, I'm in it. Okay. So anyway, I'm going through everything. And when I do the ceremony, I did it, right? And I met with the couple. I would say probably like 5 times via FaceTime or Zoom, just making sure I got everything down. Learned as much as I could about them. But I warned them. And I go, listen, if you thought Father Michael was going to show up, what did you think wrong? It's going to be this funny sounding Italian guy right here. I'm going to sound like I sound right now, but I'm going to focus on you. Okay. And I did. And when I left it, it was quick. It was a 15-minute ceremony. Okay. And when we left it, everybody was like, this is the best ceremony I've ever heard in my life. And they were like, I was not bored at all. I'm like, well, geez, bar set low, thank you. Right. And they were like, that was so entertaining. You were this, you was that, you da. And then I started thinking, and I'm like, Jeff, look no further. Your next weekend that you have free is in 2029. Right?
All right, man.
I'm right here.
Gotcha.
You don't gotta worry about nothing. I'm your guy.
I guess I'll send you a hotel, airfare sometime soon, right?
Listen, I'm telling you, if you were just like, oh yeah, Shelly and I decided, I'm there, man.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay,
All
but
right.
we got more martial arts important.
Yes, last thing for us. This ended up being longer than what I thought today. But we were having fun. Who knew that we would get a rotten meat story, you know?
All right. I am actually pretty excited about this topic, though.
I am not, because this
5
thing is hard,
check
bro.
follow-ups of all time. Now, we started by saying check reverse punch.
Yeah, and then we're like, oh.
But then we started thinking like a check ridge hand is probably just the same. But then if you're checking and check follow-up.
Yeah, check follow-up.
The same. Now, when we say check, I don't want anybody who's like a kickboxer and thinking leg check. Like, oh, pal, move on with that. Lead hand check as if you're checking a kick. This is very specific. So kicking, you take your lead hand, you check with that hand. What you do after that, that's what we're talking about.
Now, when you say check like that, so like,
oh boy, I'm more caveats.
So we would call it just a jam, right? But Jeff Smith taught all of us, and he did this a bunch, where he would come in with, like a knee elbow block and have his shin touch into it, and he would just go in and kick and slide in, almost skip in when your chamber was coming up and knock you down, or throw you off and back fist you. And I use that all the time. I love that type of a jam. And he was amazing at that back in the day. So, and see, there's so many names on this, Ben, that this is really hard. Because again, there's so like Ty Saint, Jack Felton. Yes, these are all ones that honestly, all right.
Well, let's talk about before we start listing, and I'm about to. The thing that's harder about this move is if someone were to say, hey, Robert Harris had the best check punch I've ever seen.
Yep.
Okay, maybe
Yeah.
it's a move like that like you don't really remember unless you were there
Right.
or you watched it back
experienced
with
it.
footage. You had to experience this,
Yeah.
see this, or have footage of this. It's not really something like, it's not like even guys today, they hear about Pedro's axe kick and they hear about it enough that they feel like they know what he axe kicked like, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not that kind of move, but we're going to do our best. All right.
Yeah.
So is it all right if I go first?
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm going to go first with some honorable mentions. And I will be honest, some of my honorable mentions, I mean, they could be number 2 on the list. They're not going to be number 1. My number 1 is the only one I know is number 1, right? But my number 3 could be my number 1.
Right.
It's kind of like that. But I'll start going. All right. This guy could be almost number 1. Honorable mention, I have Charlie Davidson. Now, Charlie
You
Davidson.
had a great one. Dang.
Now, and he said James, his brother, was better than him, right?
Yeah, I remember
never
James.
experienced
James had a great one as well.
Now, I'll tell you what was nutty about. So I know Charlie well, right? Love that guy. Love that he came on the show as well. All right.
Yeah.
The feds kept him away. I get it. All right. When we would train together, he would suicidally check. Now, when I was first training, the check was something stupid. Right. That's what they told us. They're like, that's such a stupid move to do. You never take your hand away from your face to block a kick. Your hands are up. You don't need to do that. If you're covering yourself, you don't need to check. You don't need to move your hand. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, that's stupid. Why would I do that? So when I would kick at somebody and they would move their hand, in my head, I went, oh, you just gave me 2 points. Right. Because I was so good at moving my foot, and it was pretty damn fast at the time that I was like, oh, if you're taking your hand and leaving your face to stop my foot, you've given me 2 points. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then we enter into a few people that are like, nuh-uh. Charlie, this is how Charlie would do it. Charlie would dive and check at my ankle while it was on the ground.
Yep.
And he would dive at me to where it's like, now I want to pick my foot up to try to sidekick you. And when I did that, I did the very thing he wanted me to do. And I was like, this dude's crazy. He's crazy. Right.
Yeah.
Number 2, or another honorable mention I got a few of them, is Jack Felton. Jack Felton checks in a way that you should not check. Jack Felton checks. I'm going to try to be sideways. He checks sweeping to his backside, which is a very dangerous thing to do.
You should be on there. Yeah.
You should never do this. Nobody should do this. If your name is not Jack Felton, do not do this. When you do that, you're taking your hand from your face and you're scooping it the whole entire way. You're vulnerable to get hit by everything. You take it and you're vulnerable to get hit because now you're in a perfectly horizontal position with your arm. You can get hit anywhere, and you're scooping it, hoping that you catch the heel, right? But if you're fighting someone like Enrique, like he wants you to do that, right? So then you scoop it. You have to be perfect to get that. And then to do what afterwards? You're scooping it to your backside, right? You don't do that, right? But yet he did that all the time. And I'm like, how did he not just get destroyed with kicks? But he did it. And sometimes he would do it and not even follow up.
Right.
Like, you just did the suicidal move and then just did it? Why? Just take a step back.
Right.
Awesome check. All right. This one, Milan Kostic, I think he had a great check punch, right? Fantastic. I just don't think he had a long enough career to really have enough people see it.
Correct.
This one could be, I mean, maybe he could be number 1, which that's Tomas Imre, right?
Yeah,
Tomas,
that was what I was thinking of. Yeah.
If you watch Tomas Imre kick, you're probably one of like 4 people, right?
Yeah, you probably haven't seen it.
Or he was just down by 14 points, which did not really happen, right? Tomas Imre is a perfect example of someone who just is horrible at kicking, but can be a phenomenal champion, right? Tomas Imre is not a complete martial artist, and he is a phenomenal fighting champion, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you're gonna commit yourself to like, I'm not kicking, you better be phenomenal at this move, and he was. We mentioned him already, Kevin Thompson. Kevin Thompson.
Yeah. Dang, good one.
Not just check punch, check bridge hand. All right. You're kicking. He's going to dive at you at that angle. He's going to take it away and he's going to hit you. Right. Another one. This is one people maybe didn't notice. Joey Greenhaw.
Yes,
good check. And
Especially
then think about it, because Joey fought left side, and he fought left side against a lot of guys who came with a good right leg kick. I watched him check punch Preston Clements, right? And Preston Clements also fought left side. I watched him do it against, he did it against me. He did it against a lot of right leg kickers. So those are all my honorable mentions. Now we hit number 5. And this one definitely, I think people have slept on. And that's Larry Tankston Sr. Larry Tankston.
Dang, dude,
one of the more underrated fighters of all time.
Of all
right?
time.
Of all time. Very, very good. He's one of those guys where it's like, you definitely know Larry Tankston. You probably didn't see Larry Tankston fight. You definitely didn't see him compete, right? And you'll hear about him, and this is one of the reasons, right? Because he's not super tall, so he can't, and he's not going to be able to cover a ton of ground. So being able to do something like the check punch is definitely something he has to have in his repertoire when he's good at it. Number 4, I have Thomas Wright. Right? Now, you have him. Yeah, you got him too. Right? Thomas is more a check. Thomas is a check ridge hand guy. Right?
I mean, he could do it all, but yeah.
He could do it all. But when you think about it, it's a check ridge hand. Right? Yep. Speaking of check ridge hand, probably the best check ridge hand is Hamid Firouzi. That's number 3, right? Okay. So Hamid Firouzi, we used to pick on him. There was a time where in NK, Hamid was number 5 on our team fight. I promise you this is the case. The top 3 was me, Greg, and BJ Carnahan for the team. Right. And Jamie Cravens was our alternate. Hamid was 5th. We were like, hey, man, I don't know. You got to figure something else out. Go find a couple other guys to team fight with or something. That was honestly the case, right? Fast forward like a year and a half. This dude decided I'm dropping everyone. So in training, I would be like, because I'm the perfect guy for him to destroy, right? Correct. With that move, right? And so I'm like trying to get him to reach at things. It was just always, I paid for it every single time. Yeah. Number 2, Marty Eubanks, right?
Yep.
Marty Eubanks is that dang good. And similar style in that he's going to sit super low, right? Double dog dare you, all right? But then if he gets his hand out there, if he gets a hold of it, he's like Hamid, he's a grabber, right? Right? So he'll have his hand open, and if you start kicking enough and he's able to grip and grab it, like it's over. He's going to grab and pull, right? And then he's going to make you hit it. Number 1, best check punch. You could do it with an open hand glove. You could do it with a closed hand glove. The best is Greg Betlock.
All right.
What's your list, my friend?
Mine's similar but different. All right. So my honorable mentions, I'm going to go on the ladies' side. So Deshaun B, someone who we talked about. Yeah, like she had a great one and had that down low fighting style. Another one, I think she's just great at everything, and that's Regina Thompson. She could check someone. And the thing is that she always had to, because most of her people that she went against were great kickers, right? You're talking about having to fight Claire and Nikki and those,
What's interesting about Regina too is I remember I was talking to Hamid, and he's like, dude, Regina is so dominant. Because I think he went to Russia.
Oh, that's right.
and he fought with Regina, and he saw her up close, and he's like, dude, you don't understand. Regina is basically Greg Betlock in female form.
Wow.
I'm like, it's pretty good. Greg was a D1 athlete,
Right.
So that was pretty good.
I mean, I just feel like anything, even though he's really good to step in, but he can check a lot as well as Avery Plowden. I just think he can do it all. Tomas Emery, same thing. You and I talked about this before too, and like on the female side, like the way she checked was different. Dottie White, because of her style, was like this, and she would check and then like hit in here, and then she would go here, but she would kill you with that reverse punch too. So Dottie White's was crazy.
But she had to have her hand like that, like you and I were saying. Because there is I feel like she was the last one to give that fighting stance up. Because there was people who had like you should have the traditional L fighting stance. And then there were those that flipped it with the rear hand guarding the face and the front hand guarding the body. And I feel like she was the last one to give that up, right?
On that level, yeah. I mean, Jimmy Sherman would do that. Sean Elliott would do that a lot.
But people would end up there. Pedro would end up there. Dottie started there. That's the weird part. But she would, and she'd check.
Bearfield, I think, would do that too. I remember watching a video recently. Richard Bearfield would do that a lot. So, Brian Plimple is one that he was great at checking.
That's great.
But he would check and then still hit you with the back fist, like check you and then hit you with the same hand. And so he could have been on my list. Another one is Brian Young. I've talked before about how his defensive skills were just crazy, and I just think his checking with the kicks, he was great at that. So, so my number 5 is Kevin Thompson, and really like watching that fight of him and Pedro, I think really like shows you how crazy of a check.
Where was it, like 91 or 92?
Yeah,
there's a clip out there. Someone's got it, whether it's Wally or Alex. Somebody put it out.
Wally, no, it's they put it out years ago. So that was good. Number 4 for me is Thomas Wright. I mean, honestly, he could have been 2 or 3 or 1. I mean, literally, like when you're talking about like checking your leg before he even gets off the ground, that's how he was with that ridge hand. He could do it with the body punch, but the ridge hand, and it would be like, boom, and his front hand would be almost on the ground.
So there's a few different types of check ridge hands. So you can do a swooping inside check and then rotating ridge hand. I was more of that type. If I was going to check ridge hand, that's what I would do. That actually is more dangerous for your body doing it that way, right?
We talked about that I shared that story of Jimmy Sherman doing that and breaking someone's shin.
Yep. Remember we said that you're gonna hyperextend an elbow at the very minimum. You could dislocate one, and then there's the one like Thomas did, where you just like wouldn't even look. You just
boom, put your head in their hip.
You just put your head down right in their hip, like you said, and just be like, I'm gonna go all out, and I'm likely gonna hit something.
Yep. So Thomas Wright. Number 3, Marty Eubanks. I mean, again, his checks were amazing. His check ridge hand was amazing. His check reverse punch, everything. Number 2 is Jack Felton. So I think his are great. The way, like, again, you talk about like kind of the sweep. He was just
right.
Just
it shouldn't work.
Yeah. Number 1 to me is one you don't have on the list, but I mean, literally, he could be number 1 to anything. But the thing is that he used this in a way depending on who he fought, right? And I'm going to say Raymond, and especially like go and watch the fight. This is the first one that came out when I was watching some of the stuff today. And poor Jesse Goldberg, but dang, bro.
Oh man.
Out of Atlanta 2004, and he finishes in like 30 seconds, 7-0, and half of them were check punches. Or at least it started that way. And it's just like, dang. And, for him he didn't have to do much with it. but he had to have that hand there or be down here because think of the
Jeff
people that he
not-
was fighting against. Jason, Preston, all these guys were kickers. And that was, it. He had a great blitz. He could have been just as fast, but after a while, when you fight someone for a while, they figure out the timing. So he had to add that next level to it, right?
Yep.
So
No,
yeah.
no, you're right. And that, like, how am I the guy to sleep on Raymond in the list, right? That happened. I'm actually surprised you didn't have Greg or Hamid. It didn't even the list
well,
or mentioned.
You have a lot more. So again, you got to remember that was kind of my phase when I wasn't involved as much in NASCA.
I get it. I get it.
So I was kind of there from afar. You're really into them because you were around them so much. You have so much experience with them, right? So it's a little different.
And that was kind of a thing. Those two, and BJ did it too, where those guys started giving me credit. They were like, "Listen, I'm not worried about anybody kicking at me when I go to compete.
Correct.
You kick at me 3 times a week.
Right.
None of them are better than me, or none of them kicking at me are better than you," which I appreciated the compliment. However, there was like a 2-year period where I'm like, dude, can I score a kick on anyone?
Yeah.
I'm kicking at Greg, I'm kicking at Hamid, I'm kicking at BJ. Jamie's impossible to catch because he's so freaking flimsy and all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he comes back and axe kicks you. Like, dude, you guys suck, right? And then Elias would kick at you, and because he's so long, like it forces you to kick differently. And it's like, this is just annoying. And then you feel like, man, I can't kick at anybody, yet they're giving me a compliment. Like, oh no, I'm really good because you kicked at me. Like, yeah, sucker. How about you give me something to be good at?
Yeah. I mean, Trevor has a great check drill and it actually helps you with your kicking, but also with your checking, where one's just kind of floating their leg like this, and you're just kind of going wherever and working it. And really it helps both people, right?
Well, let's talk about guys like Trevor.
Yeah.
Because Trevor's got a good check too.
Yes, he does.
And I've never mentioned this. I've stole Trevor's checks before. Not on him.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Like, Trevor will check and then round kick. I did this too, Greg. Right? Where Greg came and kicked it. If I always wanted to bait him to kick at me, because I'm like, listen, if you're kicking at me, I got it. Right? Yeah. Right? I grabbed this dude's foot pad and I just like ranked. And then boom, booted him right in the back of the head. But then there was also another one that I completely stole from Trevor. Right? I had a dislocated elbow. I'm fighting, and it sucks so bad. Like I can't extend my arm. I was fighting this guy from Italy, and he kicked, and I did like a jack, where I like stepped to the inside and I scooped it back this way. I didn't do like what Jack does. I didn't do this thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I reached out and I like pulled it back and I like checked and then axe kicked, right? From there. But I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but Trevor's definitely very good at that, to where you can check from different angles, different directions.
Yeah.
Check and kick. I've watched Jack check someone's back fist, right? And then back fist them.
Yes, back fist them. Yeah.
Like that was one where you're like, oh man, you just sunned this guy.
Right. Crazy. All right. So what are we going to do next week? Are we going to do a show on Memorial Day, or what's
listen, no, we're not.
Okay.
I'm going to be straight up. We're not.
All right. Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm
guys.
taking the day off. So
we got a thing we got to do.
Dang. Oh, dang.
The checks were a fun one. We're coming right back at it. When are we back? What's the date? Okay.
So we'll be in June.
Dude, June. We're already into June. June 2nd. It's a big deal. And wait, what episode is this one right now? Did you say 290 what?
290.
290. 10 more and we'll be at 300. This is going to be awesome.
It's crazy. So, and yeah, we're coming up also on our sixth year.
2019 we started, right? So this will be 6.
Yes. So 6th year in August. So yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
I'm so glad Sam jumped on.
Oh, I know. That was fun. He said
that was fun. That was a fun experience.
All right. So next week's that. So the 2nd. Okay. So I'll have another graduation weekend to share about, as our son Sean is graduating from high school, and then lots of things getting prepared for black belt testing that week. After that, I'll have Battle of Atlanta, and I'll have my tournament. So I'm gonna be busy, man.
Okay,
gonna
I
be
have an
fun.
idea for a technique to do the next time up.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
It's a little out there. Tell me what you think. Bow, ball bat swing.
Let's do it. I like it. Bow, ball, bat. So that's a
Good,
good one.
right?
We haven't done any weapons.
Everyone's done it. It's another one of those where it's like when we did with the jump front kick.
Yeah.
Everyone has done it. What are we doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. And it's our first time doing a weapon one because we haven't really done that. So that would be cool.
Right.
It kind of makes me
and
think
Mike's right. Preview to WKC is going to be that weekend.
Yeah. And I wanted to get into some WKC stuff from Canada, but we didn't have time. But again, guys, I think, I'm telling you, like all the top guys were there, and I think they're going to have one of their best teams ever, the way it looks to me. So, all right.
Let's go, USA. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys in 2 weeks.